The music provided for this episode of the Tom Retro Chronicles is by the song called Two Hearts with the artist called Numeron. To check out more PodSafe music, check out dig.ccmixter.org. Yeah.
A 1, a 2, a 3, 4, 5. It is the Tom Retro Chronicle with your host called Tom Retro.
Looking good, baby!
Tom Retro is also known as the Retro Guy and has a very interesting angle on things like sports, music, movies, books, and pretty much mostly life. He has a WordPress account, a very funny Twitter account, and overall a very interesting guy. Yeah. And also has very interesting interviews like me, Arnold Schwarzenegger. Yeah. So let's head it to our very own very special host called Tom Retro.
And hello there, this is Tom Retro, and this is episode 16 of the Tom Retro Chronicle, and welcome. Well, it has been a long time since I have done this. I will absolutely admit. What can I say? It's been almost 3 months since the day that I last did this episode, which was back in January, which was January 8th, was the last time that actually ever happened. So, I am taping this on a very, very, very sunny, kind of chilly Monday afternoon here in the old Fargo, North Dakota. Currently right now watching some baseball right now. I'm currently watching the Red Sox versus the Yankees. And most of you know that I am indeed a Red Sox fan, and I absolutely hate the Yankees. But anyway, in terms of this episode, pretty much gonna throw out some baseball predictions and basically who I feel is gonna be the best team. That's basically the teams that will win it all, or win their division and or win it all towards the end of the season in September, or actually October maybe, but who knows? But anyway, I'm pretty much gonna be just about talking about that. Maybe I might throw in something else in there, but I don't know. Maybe I'll think on it. But anyway, let's talk a little bit about some baseball. So I was at a Village Inn about an hour ago when I was having breakfast or lunch or whatever time I usually have for your breakfast or your brunch. But anyway, it was actually really good. But anyway, so in terms of this baseball season, I'm not really banking all that much on the Red Sox chances of winning the division. I mean, I'm not saying that the Red Sox are going to win their division, but chances are the Red Sox they're I like to think that they're rebuilding. Mostly, I think they're just rebuilding more than anything else that I can really possibly think of. But basically, I think the biggest, toughest division in American League is going to be the AL East by pretty much by a mile or two. And the reason why I say this is that the Orioles have gotten better. Pretty much everybody knows that, unless you have been in a coma since since the last time Cal Ripken Jr. was an Oriole, which was about almost a decade ago. Um, so you have the Orioles stockpiling stuff. They're going to get better. That's 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 pretty much no question about that one. But the Blue Jays, I mean, the Blue Jays got a whole bunch of talent from the Marlins in the off season. Pretty much a huge salary dump on the Marlins' part. But in terms of that, I don't think the Blue Jays will win the division. I think they should be able to get a wild card out of it. And I have the Red Sox in third place. And I feel this is possible because it's. I think we're getting there, but we still have a long way to go in terms of getting back to where we were a couple years ago when we were shortly before the September collapse, which still resonates in my mind even to this day. But anyway, on fourth I have the Rays, but I think the game behind gap isn't going to be all that much. I don't think. I mean, it might be a little bit of close gap, but I don't think it should be that much of wide gap at all. So I don't know upon the Rays. The Rays are interesting to trying to figure out. I mean, they're so unpredictable to try and figure out, I think, but and then I have the Yankees, which I'm sure all New York people are so thrilled to hear that I'm pretty much selling them out for pretty much the whole entire season. The problem with the Yankees is that they rely on a certain type of player that was once good, but yet they are old. They don't really use their farm system pretty much just about at all to this point. And I don't, other than the injuries, the Vernon Wells signing, the lack of really depth of starters, other than CC Sabathia, I can't really think of anyone else that would hold the fort other than CC. I think Yankees hitting will be average at best, but nowhere near to what they would want. So I have Orioles in first place, Blue Jays, Red Sox, Rays, and Yankees in their respectable slots. So that's AL East. AL Central, I have the Tigers winning that division, and then pretty much goes right from there. The Indians I have second, the Royals third, Twins fourth, and White Sox fifth. When I was thinking about this, I think either the Twins or the White Sox could probably switch those two spots. I think, but you never know. You never know about baseball. So, I think the Tigers. I think the Tigers are pretty much a champion. They're pretty much a champion in waiting. I mean, their hitting. It's hard to imagine that their hitting would be not that great. I mean, I mean, yeah, they pretty much stunk it up on in the World Series against the Giants, but I I think they're worthy of getting back to the playoffs again. For the Indians, I think I think the Indians could possibly get will be hotly contested to get that second wild card spot because I think the Blue Jays will still get that wild card spot. Um, anyway, Indians basically get a new manager in Terry Francona, or as Tito, I would like to call him. Um, I think I think the Indians are going to be good. I think um, I think Jacobs Field is going to be pre-packed, even though it's not really Jacobs Field anymore. But I still like to call it Jacobs Field. The third, I believe the Royals will be a dark horse team this year. I think they have lots of things to be excited about. And Twins, I know plenty of Twins people that think, well, you never know about the Twins. So, it's like, well, the Twins are pretty much like the opposite of the Yankees. The Twins overall usually like to use their farm system. They don't usually like to get a lot of people in free agency. They might make a couple of moves to sign some people, but in terms of that, in this day and age, you pretty much have to. You pretty much have to do something in order. You pretty much have to do something in order to become successful, and certainly those Twins teams that won it all in '87 and '91, they went out to get someone. They went out in free agency to get some people to help them win their championships. So, anyway, the White Sox, White Sox. I just don't think that White Sox. I just don't think the White Sox are gonna be. The White Sox are not gonna be that good. I don't think. Of course, I could be wrong. The White Sox have been a very interesting team to try and think about, but in terms of that, I wouldn't sell too many. I wouldn't sell too much stock in the White Sox. So I wouldn't suggest that you should invest your time in looking at the White Sox. So AL West, I have the Angels winning the division. I think the Angels. I don't think the Angels are exactly the best team, the best looking team on paper. That title would probably go to the Tigers, but the Red Sox scored first. Anyway, then I have the Rangers in second, Athletics in third, Mariners fourth, and Astros fifth. My take on the whole Astros to the American League thing. I mean, when the Red Sox finally do play against the Astros, it's it might be end up a little bit awkward. I mean, to me, but might feel a little awkward. But I mean, usually I think the Astros. When I think the Astros, I always think of that team, that bottom cellar team, um, back in the NL Central when they were still in the NL Central. And it seems like to me that if you wanted to keep the teams back to 15, it would have been kind of cool to see the Brewers come back to the American League, because the Brewers were originally an American League team. So maybe I thought, hey, maybe the Brewers might have been a good choice to put back in the American League instead of the Astros. But that's really up to them, I suppose. But anyway, on to the National League. I have the Nationals winning the division. They're pretty much the best looking team, pretty much on paper, in the National League. Pretty much bar none. I think if Strasburg was given a little bit more leeway in terms of pitching, I think he would be great. I think that team would be pretty much great. And then I have the Phillies in second. I think the Phillies, are going to be. I think the Phillies will try to make it a division. Yeah, Red Sox scored 2 more runs. Anyway, and then I have the Braves in third. The Mets in fourth. The Mets, pretty much the Mets are the Mets. Other than David Wright, I just don't really see the Mets being all that much of a challenge, to be that much of a challenge towards their division. And then for fifth, I have the Marlins. Trying to get something going. I mean, yes, they pretty much dumped a whole lot of salary out of their team to the Blue Jays, as I mentioned before. I just don't think the Marlins are going to be that great this year. I think they're going to be the worst team in the league, in that league. So onto the NL Central. I believe the Cardinals will win that division. I mean, despite having no Albert Pujols last season, I think no one really had the Cardinals getting pretty much anywhere to the playoffs as much as they did. So I think the Cardinals will win that division. I think the Pirates will take the next step in becoming a contender this season, I believe. I think they'll finally get a winning season for the first time since I was about three years old, since '91. Anyway. Woo! Red Sox are up by 4-0. Anyway. And then I have the Reds in third. Honestly, the Reds could be pretty much just about anything. I mean, the Reds could be pretty much a high or low team. Then I have the Brewers in fourth, and then I have the Cubs in fifth. So I think those two teams Brewers and the Cubs are pretty much going to be essentially rebuilding, pretty much. So, with Ryan Braun out, I just don't see that team being really all that much of a contender for that division. So, and then for the NL West, I have the Giants. I have the Giants, unlike most people are suggesting that the Dodgers will win that division. I'm pretty much going with the Giants because I believe, part one, they're pretty much they're the defending champs. I mean, you pretty much have to. You pretty much have to. You have to give some thought to that as well. But in terms of that, the Giants hitting will still be there. The Giants starting pitching will be there. Matt Cain, Tim Lincecum. Did you hear about Tim Lincecum cutting off his hair? I feel that's going to be pretty much. I feel that's going to be pretty much a devastating story for Giants fans to think about. But I don't know. I thought that long hair looked really pretty good on him. So. Second, I have the Dodgers. I think they'll win that wild card spot as well as the Pirates. I think, but that's just me. I don't know. The Dodgers seem like I think this is pretty much their year to try and win it all or bust. And usually those teams, those teams that do try to win now and not really later. I don't know. I don't think they usually tend to last that long. So anyway, the third place, I have the Diamondbacks. They looked pretty good on paper last season, so I think I'll give them a third place spot. And then the Rockies. The Rockies could be a fifth place team. Who knows? But NL West usually tends to be kind of more of the weaker division in the majors. So, so the Padres are the fifth place team, the last place team that I have for my prediction. So, the Padres are the Padres. They could be good, but who knows? So for my World Series prediction, I have coming out of the American League is the Tigers, and from the National League, I have the Cardinals. And I'll take the Tigers to beat the Cardinals in the 2013 World Series coming in October. So yeah. So that's pretty much my predictions that I have for the season. I mean, I know that the season's already started, but I think it'll be pretty much the most exciting season out there. I'm trying to think. What else could I think? I mean, last season was probably one of the more exciting regular seasons in baseball. since I've been pretty much restarting to watch baseball since 2006. I mean, the 2012 regular season, ended on a good note. The playoffs were actually pretty good. Other than the World Series, which was kind of more of a snore fest than anything else, but in terms of this season, I think you can probably expect more or less nothing but the best of the season. So I'm pretty excited for baseball to come back. So anyway, I think I'm gonna call this one good. I think I'll do another episode sometime, maybe on Friday. So definitely keep an eye on that. Keep an eye on my Twitter account for any updates. And my Twitter handle is Darth underscore Tom, or just type in the search bar Darth Tom, and you should see a face of me on there. So anyway, thank you for listening to the Tom Retro Chronicle, episode 16, and I will see you all next Friday, hopefully. Peace.